Everybody, happy Friday. It's baseball. Almost done updating the MLB algorithm for the day. It's 11:05 on the East Coast. I'm in the middle of Colorado in a mountain hideaway right outside of Pikes Peak. I might do a rollerblading video today. I've been enjoying that. Makes me feel good. Sitting in front of the computer all day doesn't make the body feel good. But getting out and exercising, I've noticed it just helps all kinds of health things. Sometimes my eyes are pretty bad, but when I get out and start doing stuff actively and not stare at a screen like you end up having to do here a lot, it makes me feel better. So we mix up stuff here on the Ken Braverman YouTube channel. We'll talk about MLB for the day because I have prepared some stuff, and I feel obliged to discuss what I've been doing betting wise, because I don't have problems with what I'm doing. I like what I'm doing now. Found something very interesting because what I always wanted the algorithm to do was provide us with a look really, really fast that just allows us to glance at it and be like, oh, Ken always says that games with MXP factors over 20, which are only these top two games today, the Dodgers and the Yankees, that those are what the algorithm is saying are teams that are supposed to win. And so if you're like, oh, I just want to grab all the winners that the algorithm really, really thinks are going to just win the game today and throw them on a parlay or throw them on a round robin. The two today are the Dodgers and the Yankees, with the Mets and Milwaukee a close second and third and fourth with almost at 20. But lineups are not even confirmed yet. And also Milwaukee's line is miserable. So it would say like you do a parlay of the Dodgers and the Yankees if you're somebody who just does premium prop stuff that the algorithm says. I get that. That's not interesting enough for me because I don't like to bet a lot of money. That would require me to bet a lot of money if I wanted to care a lot. Like I want to bet I want to bet like 500 on a parlay here to try to win 1,800 or 1,400 or whatever it's going to be with those two lines together. Actually, we can check. You want to check? Show you how to check. It was what, 140, 145 and minus 155 or something. So it goes to that. Well, if you bet $100 on a parlay, you get 277, you win 177 bucks. So to really care and make it a day, and I know some people do this, they do something like this, and they're like, I'm trying to win 900 bucks today, but you might lose one of these games. Sorry, that's not Yankees minus 1.5, that's just Yankees. But you might lose 500 bucks. I don't like this because when you lose this, I feel like I am not happy with what I did with my day. And that's a lot of money to me, and no way, right? So I don't do that. I do something else. And that's why I feel obliged to talk about it in today's video is I'm doing same game parlays now on Fanduel because Fanduel is awesome. Say what you will. Fanduel is the best sportsbook I've ever seen in my life. I love everything about what they're doing. They are fine with me, and they offer everything. And these same game parlays are at like plus 200 and 210 and stuff. Like they're even more. And so if you just read the algorithm, show you, we'll actually go through and I'm not done yet, so I'm not going to make the final bet yet, but I'm going to give you an example really quick of what to do. So for example, in the Yankees Baltimore game, which is an interesting game. All right. You've got what the algorithm says is actually a lower scoring empirical matchup of 4.2 to 2.8. It's like a 4-3 game if the Yankees don't win by much because Baltimore's playing better and Tyler Wells is not a bad pitcher. But 91 degrees and the wind is blowing out in Baltimore, I believe. Yep. And so the over could happen because of the weather situation. So a same game parlay in options that they give you like a run line or a money line and runs money line runs or run line runs. So your options are, because you're dealing with an over under where it fluctuates between what it might be. I say you can't really bet the same game parlay here because the algorithm isn't giving you a clear over under pick. So you'd just be gambling. But you know what? That's okay. That's okay because nothing's perfect here. So you can go with, I think weather and hitting is going to win out versus I think pitching and weather won't pan out for the over under there. But here's what's interesting about that. The thing is you want the Yankees. And the Yankees win by, believe it or not, less than 1.5 in this scenario, and maybe more than 1.5 in this scenario. So that's also a fluctuating bet, right? So you could say, well, what kind of things go together and what odds are offered? And I'm looking at the money line total runs parlay option for this game. And it says Yankees over 8.5 is plus 190. Okay. So Yankees with over 8.5 is plus 190. All right. I'll show you what I'm doing and why I'm going to be doing it this way. Because if you want to gamble here, which is really what this is, but gamble with an edge, you really should be gambling where you get great lines, because the algorithm should be able to find great lines because of the simulations it's doing on the scores. All right. So we're just going to go over this one game example, and then I'm going to leave you in this video. And then you can subscribe, or you can check the Google Sheet if you're a subscriber and see what my wager ends up being for the day. Because I'm just going to do one. And I'm actually probably only going to bet $17 because I think that's what I have in the account. I only put in the minimum every day. I don't do this the way you'd think a normal bettor does this, because I don't. And I put in a little bit. So I have $17 from what I won yesterday, I think. I'm just going to bet the $17 because it's going to be more than enough, because you'll see what kind of lines we're going to get. So Yankees over 8.5 is plus 190. Yankees under 8.5. Okay. This is the under version of that. The under version ends up being plus 250. So if the weather doesn't create more runs and this stays under, look at how much better that line is. All right. Then I want to talk about the Yankees minus 1.5 lines. All right. Because they also offer a same game parlay on that, because they're Fanduel and they're unbelievable. They give you any option you want. They're just great. So the Yankees minus 1.5 over 8.5. Okay. The over ends up being plus 250. And the Yankees minus 1.5 under 8.5 is plus 380. So if they somehow win that game 4-2, that's an amazing payout right there. All right. So you can think of different things you can do. Like you can do 2 different round robins, bet this one on one of them if you think that some crazy 4-2 thing might happen, because that's a crazy line right there. Or if you think they're going to go over and the weather's going to do it, then you can do these 2, right? On different round robins. Point is you look at these amazing different lines that are available, right? Now that's just one game. Now, what does the algorithm actually say to do there, right? It's kind of torn between Yankees under 8.5 and Yankees over 8.5. It's torn. Yeah, it is torn. But this line is so much better. So you would take this one. And that's what we're going to do. See what we just did? So we're not going to win every single game. We're not going to win every single day. But we're going to go with the wind and weather not pushing balls out of the park on this day, and the pitching winning the battle, and the Yankees winning under it, because this line is so much better than the other one. So if you emulate the same idea for 7 games, okay, all right, and you have $17, which is what I'm actually going to wager, you can do crazy stuff on FanDuel. $12.90 something. Yeah. Right. Something like that. And what I'm just doing is, yeah, I think I have like 1731 or something like that. This pays $9,756 if you get all 7. You're not going to get all 7. Okay. You're not. It would be unbelievable if you did. And the lines you got would probably have shrunk a little bit, because you would have been a little smarter than greedy like I was here. I was greedy with a great line in this game, and I'm going with one of 2 potential outcomes. So you're only going to hit this 50% of the time, supposedly, right? So it might not be the day for that. And so you're not going to hit all 7. Now all of a sudden it's down to $4,200 because you found more reasonable lines. But here's what you will hit. Let's just say what happened yesterday happens today, which is you go, let's say 3 and 4. Okay, let's lose 4 of these games. if you go 3 and 4, you only lose 35% of your wager. All right. That's crazy, first of all, in a round robin. And that's because I structured it this way. You don't have to structure this way. You could bet more on the bottom, and you can see you're actually going to make a little money if you bet more on the twos. I just don't find that fun. Like I don't want to make a little bit of money. I want to either lose my little bit of money that I wagered or win a ton. That's the way I look at it. Now, what happens if you go 4 and 3 on this? Look at that. Now all of a sudden you just won dinner on your 17 bucks, which probably can pay for dinner anyway. But see that? And then all of a sudden, what if you have a pretty good day and go 5 and 2? Wow. Now all of a sudden you actually made a reasonable amount of money. And then if you get really hot, you start to make big money, like 500. And if you have that amazing day where you hit all of them, you have an amazing day and you have a great story. So this right here is what I call enjoyable gambling. And this is fun enough baseball for me in a day where I'll just make this wager in the morning right now before confirmed lineups. I'll just double check weather real quick because I think it does matter for sure. Especially when you see things like wind blowing out and you're talking about betting over and unders. I got to add all this in here for you guys as well as for myself to make an accurate wager. But before noon on the East Coast, and I am not even on the East Coast, I'm in a mountain hideaway in Colorado. But so before 10 a.m. my time, I'm going to be done with this for the day, and hopefully you all can enjoy your baseball for the day. And we're going to move on to other topics. So that's basically my advice on wagering, and what the algorithm says is Dodgers and Yankees parlay. And if I were to just throw 7 of these winners on here and not do same game parlays, you would do something like this. I'll show you what that pays real quick. This is actually more reasonable. Like if you want to, you might actually hit this in a day. I mean, the algorithm hits the top 7 in the day on average, like probably one out every 10 days, maybe. But 1 out every 5 days, it'll go like 6 and 1 up here, which is still good. These lines are going to be different. Nope, that works. So here you can only win 7 to 1 on your money. You see how much worse the lines are, but you would also probably structure your wager differently because you wouldn't care about the stuff down here. So you would do something like this. Let's say you have 25 bucks or something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, here's 25 bucks, 5, 6s, and 7s. You can turn this into 450 bucks, but you're going to get punished every time you lose the game horribly. And you're going to have to go 5 and 2. Yeah, now you're going to have to go 6 and 1 or better on those. So that's why it's so much more different and difficult, not in my opinion, to win. I shouldn't say that. I would say it's more difficult to get what I call exciting payouts by betting lines like this. Because in this case, you're agreeing with the odds makers on every one of these games because every one of these teams is unfortunately a favorite. And that's a consequence of the odds makers getting better at their job, and of course the algorithm being awesome and it just putting stuff in the order. So you kind of got to pick off different things. And I think taking advantage of lines is something I've always just glanced on and talked about, but it's, the people on Odds Jam, the YouTube channel Odds Jam, they're digging for lines all over the place. And I get it, guys. I understand it is the money part of this. It's like you making a deal in a negotiation on a wager is the line that you get. So why wouldn't you bet insanely awesome lines and just guess that put your faith in the algorithm doing a pretty good job most of the time and having days where you do better than 4 and 3. And look at this insanity. Right? 25. Yeah, but you would not do this because you would have to hit 5 to make any money. You would not bet it this way. That's why it pays so much. You bet it more like, all right, well, let's 120. How about a $60 bet? Looks like this. Maybe $61 bet. 60, 50. That's 13 grand, right? And you're still going to win all the way up to, I believe, 4 and 3. Yeah. 4 and 3 pays. Yeah, like look at that. That's really not bad. So you just got to find same game parlays or juicy lines like that to throw on there because that's how you do this. All right. So good luck, everybody. May all your picks be winning. The algorithm says Dodgers and Yankees win. Good luck.